A list that you guys have been asking me to do for a while, and I've been wanting to do this list as well, but I was trying to come up with a theme, and I thought, you know what? Since I have a lot of fresh fragrances from Acqua Di Parma, and they're pretty much known for fresh fragrances as well, they're known for this fragrance right here, Colonia, one of their first fragrances dating back to 1916, over 100 years old. I thought I'd put together a top 10 Acqua Di Parma fresh fragrances list for you. So today, find out my favorite, 10 favorite Acqua Di Parma fresh fragrances, coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today we're talking about Acqua Di Parma, an older house from Italy, currently under LVMH. Louis Vuitton, Moet, and Hennessy owns the brand, so all the fragrances are under this umbrella of, this conglomerate, along with Maison Francis Kurkdjian, Dior, Givenchy, Guerlain, and, whoever, many other brands. But they create many great fragrances. I actually wore Fico di Amalfi back in the 2000s when the bottles were different, and I own it now, and I really do enjoy this house for, fresh fragrances. Although I do enjoy the oud that they have. I think it's changed, and I don't have the current black bottle, but as I said, today we're focusing on the fresh fragrances from Acqua Di Parma, and these are some of the better ones that I have, and you'll find out what they are and where each fragrance lands. Before I let you know the fragrances though, if this is your first time tuning into this channel and you still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So let's get started. The first fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is Colonia Intensa from Acqua Di Parma. This is it right here. I actually bought this and I found a great deal online. It's not turned out to be one of my favorite fragrances. It's basically an intense version of the original. And it's created by Alberto Morillas, and they've taken the original fragrance and added like darker notes. There's leather here, and there's also oud. I think there's oud. Maybe it's just leather. It just seems like I'm trying to smell, fresh citrus fragrance, and that's what I come to expect from this collection, and I'm getting something a lot darker. Maybe you might be a fan of this one, I don't know, but it's at number 10. It features notes of bergamot, ginger, cardamom, lemons, neroli, artemisia, myrtle, leather, cedar, benzoin, musk, and patchouli. Lots of stuff happening. For me, it's the marriage of citruses with more thick concentrated notes, the musk, the patchouli, the cedar, the benzoin, and the leather. And then you've got some aromatics and citrus florals and spices, fresh spices thrown in. So it kind of feels bottom heavy, if that makes so. It seems not necessarily fresh, and the name is Colonia Intensa, so it makes sense, but I was expecting something a little more lighter. Anyway, it's at number 10, Colonia Intensa, the first fragrance I'm going to talk to you about today from Acqua Di Parma's collection of fresh fragrances. The next fragrance I'm talking about is Yuzu in this bottle right here. Yuzu is actually very interesting. It's got a grassy undertone, so there's like a grassy, herbal, aromatic undertone here. And the Yuzu is not necessarily zingy, like it's not tart and spicy like I typically associate yuzu fragrances with. There's a kind of like a bitter spiciness with yuzu or grapefruit or pomelo. It's not here, and I think it's because there's a major prominence with lotus flower, so it adds this kind of watery jelly-like quality, and it softens this yuzu note in here. It's still a great wearing experience. I much prefer it over the Colonia Intensa, but it's loads of yuzu, lotus flower, mimosa, violet leaves, bergamot, Sichuan pepper, sandalwood, musk, licorice, and jasmine. It's quite pleasant. I shouldn't complain about this one, but going through the whole entire collection, it's ended up here at number 9. But it's not a bad fragrance. It's definitely wearable. I enjoyed a lot more than Colonia Intensa. So it's Yuzu at number 9. Moving on to number 8 from Acqua Di Parma, it's CIPRESSO di Toscana, this one right here. I recently featured this in a Cypress fragrances video. CIPRESSO, Cypress. It's a great tree from Tuscan region or Tuscany region, and I absolutely love it. We have our own cypress trees here in the Monterey area. It's a different kind of a cypress, whereas the ones in Italy are the ones that are tall. The ones here in California are these kind of bigger trees. But the smell of the cypress tree is very unique. It has a kind of a green woody smell and a bit herbal and a little ozonic as well. I quite like the smell, and walking by them, always like pick a couple of leaves or whatever you call them, the They're not quite needles, and you smell them and there's definitely this kind of a unique smell to them, and they've captured it here quite lovely in this. It's a fresh fragrance, obviously. The blue bottles, the Mediterranean collection is what it's called, I believe, are fresh, but this one actually has more depth to it because it's a woody note. In addition to the cypress, they've got pine, rosemary, lavender, basil, vetiver, oak moss, cedar, coriander, sage, and grapefruit. So it has citruses, it definitely has this spices, and of course the cypress and the pine are in here. The pine, you know, I prefer pine as a note because I love pine smell, but the cypress is kind of close behind it and I really love it in this. CIPRESSO di Toscana from Acqua Di Parma. Go check out my cypress fragrances video. That is at number 8 though, the CIPRESSO di Toscana. Next at number 7, it's Colonia C.L.U.B. There's 2 Colonia C.L.U.B.s. The one I'm featuring is the one with the periods between the letters of C.L.U.B. There's a Colonia C.L.U.B. without the periods or the dots. I much prefer this. I don't care for the other C.L.U.B. This one is much better, and I recently featured this in the Fresh Spicy Fragrances video, and it's quite darling. I love this one. It's spicy, it's kind of minty. It's mint and coriander, mint and parsley, kind of a combo, this Shiso note that's in here, and it makes for a very unique wearing experience. It's fresh and spicy. Fresh Spicy was a video I featured this in just recently. It's Shiso, rosemary, bergamot, lemons, pink pepper, black pepper, cedar, musk. So it's a very fresh take. These are eau de colognes in these bottles, but the blue bottles are eau de toilette. So eau de colognes are not the longest lasting, so they're perfect for very, very hot days. And this one's kind of a unique twist to their eau de cologne series of fragrances because it features that Shiso note, that very, very unique smelling herb from Japan that kind of, to me, is a cross between maybe mint and parsley, mint and watercress, something like that. Very unique. Colonia C.L.U.B. at number 7. Next at number 6, Colonia FUTURA. This is really nice. This is definitely another fragrance I would have added to the list of fresh spicy fragrances because it's got loads of aromatics here, lots of them, and they're very, very spicy aromatics like herbs. But it does feature a prominent vetiver note along with lemon, so it's vetiver, lemons, grapefruit, sage, lavender, pink pepper. The grapefruit definitely has zing to it. It's definitely spicy. There's lots of spices here, and also the sage. The sage comes in with the lavender, so it kind of slightly has a little more masculine leaning qualities. It kind of reminds me a little bit of something like a chypre or men's barbershop-y kind of a fragrance, but it's quite lovely. I really like this one. That's why it's at number 6. The other ones I prefer more, but Colonia FUTURA at number 6. At number 5, this is Chinotto di Liguria. So this is a drink that I really... It's a unique drink that they drink in Italy, and it's a unique taste. I really liked it. I had some recently when I was in Italy, and hopefully the next time I go, which is in September, I'm gonna have a little bit more. And they have a fragrance inspired by this Chinotto, and it's a citrus fragrance in the end, and it features the Chinotto fruit or the citrus fruit in here, along with the mandarin orange, the rosemary, jasmine, geranium, cardamom, musk, and there's patchouli as well. And it's a very unique experience and a very unique citrus experience that I quite like. There's a kind of an earthiness about this Chinotto note, and there's also a soapiness as well. So in here, you'll experience this very soapy, earthy quality with lots of citruses. It's very juicy, drippy citruses. And there's, of course, spices and aromatics as well. Great combination, very unique smell. Chinotto di Liguria is at number 5. Next up at number 4, it's Bergamotto di Calabria. So I recently featured this in a bergamot fragrances video. It's a great bergamot smell. Bergamot is that prized fruit that comes from Italy. The Calabrian bergamot, used in a lot of fragrances, a lot. Typically as a top note, kind of an almost non-distinct citrus, but not quite. It has its kind of unique qualities. There's a floralcy about bergamot that I really, really like. It's kind of like a citrus floral combined with the actual citrus. That's definitely here. But along with the bergamot here, you've got citron, ginger, vetiver, and cedar. So it eventually becomes woody, the earthy, woody vetiver and cedar. But there's definitely some bite here, some zing, and I think the ginger really does complement the bergamot quite lovely. It adds a kind of a bite, a spice, because the bergamot is juicy, citrusy, plus a little floral, so I think they complement wonderfully, and I've seen the combination come up quite frequently. And this is delicious. A great fresh fragrance, Bergamotto di Calabria at number 4 from the house of Acqua di Parma. Alright, at number 3, going to the original Colonia. This is such a great fragrance. It's classic, it smells classic, but also very beautiful, very clean, very fresh, very soapy, deserves to be around. It's been around since 1916. It's got that beautiful orange flower kind of a smell, along with aromatics and herbs under there. And it's got this muskiness as well, and some light earthy woodiness. It's a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. This stuff you can spray totally liberally. It smells fantastic, smells clean, and it's the kind of fragrance that is perfect for Italy, because you know it's so hot. I was in Italy, as I was saying earlier, and it was so hot and sweaty and humid there. This is the kind of fragrance you would wear. Totally spray all over. It'll smell clean, fresh in that hot, humid summer weather. This stuff is amazing, but it features lots of citruses along with lavender, rosemary. There's lemon verbena, rose, vetiver, white musk, jasmine, and sandalwood. Perfect fragrance. Very, very fresh. Colonia from 1916 at number 3. Number 2, it's Mirto de Panarea. Do you guys know this one? This is a nice cold fragrance, and the myrtle note is very, very prominent here. I mentioned this in another video recently. The myrtle flower, or the tree we had, as I was growing up, I had a tree on our rooftop garden we had in the building that I lived in. It's a great smell. It's an herbal kind of smell, but it's a flower, kind of a white flower with a little bit of a berry-like fruit in there as well. But it's very interesting here. Myrtle, marine notes, juniper, lemons, bergamot, basil, cedar, mastic resin, jasmine, and rose. Very spicy, very herbal, but lightly floral experience, and lots of citruses. And there's a little bit of a marine undertone here. It's not a lot of marine undertone, but there's a little bit of it here, but it smells fantastic and beautiful. So it's Mirto de Panarea from the house of Acqua di Parma at number 2. Can you guess my number 1? I already mentioned it at the beginning of the video. It's Fico di Amalfi. I love this one. It's a great fig fragrance. And this particular Fico di Amalfi is one that I wore in the 2000s when the bottles were in the older bottles. They were kind of thin and long. They redesigned the bottles, I think, after it became LVMH, but I could be wrong. This is a great fig fragrance because it's not only the fig fruit, but it's also the tree with the leaves and the branches and everything, because it's got that very, very green smell with a mixture of fruity smell. So if you like the idea of fruity fragrances but you love fig, definitely check this one out, because there are fig fragrances out there that strictly focus on either the fruit or the leaves and the branches, but this is the combination of both, and it smells fantastic. In addition to the fig and the fig tree, you've got grapefruit, bergamot, yuzu, lemons, cedar, jasmine, pink pepper. Some spice there, some woods there, lots of citruses with the fig fruit and the fig tree. That is Fico di Amalfi at number 1. And that's my list for you guys. I'm finally glad to do this list. I've been wanting to do a brand overview, and I haven't really had one that I hadn't done, but this one's definitely one to do. And if I was going to do a whole overview, I don't think I have enough to do a 15. I've got 3 of their darker fragrances, and that's it. So I'd have to dig further and expand my collection to do like a next video to feature their darker fragrances or more intense fragrances. But what are your thoughts on these fragrances, and what would you suggest to get next as far as the fresh fragrances go and as far as the darker fragrances go? Let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. And if you are a fan of these fragrances, which is your favorite? Do let me know that as well. Either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.